I'm going to make a very simple version of Cleopatra's Needle, this Egyptian building that's now in the centre of London. What I'm going to do is a very basic one so that we can revise some of the tinkercad tools. So here we go. So on tinkercad, what I'm going to do is, in my basic shapes, I'm just going to get a cube, and if you remember with a cube, then if I click here, then I can see the length and the width of the cube. So I'm going to leave them there. So those are measured in millimeters, and if I wanted to change them, I can just drag out the corners, but I think it's much better to actually click here on the corner and then just change the length and the width. It gives you much more accuracy. And then up here we can do the same for the height. So I can click on the top and I can drag it up and down like that. But again, if I click here, then I get a measurement here, and then I can decide how high I want to make it up here. Now with my mouse, my scroll wheel on my mouse, I can zoom in and I can zoom out, so that makes it nice and easy to do that. There are other controls over here where I can do this. If I want it to go back, let's just move it round. If I want it to go back to my main setting, I click this home button over here, this home view, and it moves it round to where it was. So that's how I can make my shape. If I click on it, I can just move it around to where it needs to go. Okay, so the next thing that I can do is I can right mouse click, and then I can just hold my right mouse down, and that lets me move this around. And so what I'm going to do now is I want to put a roof on, so I'm just going to look at grouping different shapes. So you'll see on my basic shapes down here, I could use this roof, or I could use this cone. I'm going to use this pyramid shape. So I bring the pyramid shape on, and you'll see at the bottom with this, if you remember, then it was 20 by 20. So I'm just going to click on the pyramid and just make sure it's the same, and it is. And then instead of using the top of the pyramid, which will make the pyramid higher, and I don't really want that, so I'm going to use my undo tool here. What I can do is I can raise it up. So you'll see you've got this little cone shape up at the top, and I can raise my pyramid up, and then I can move it across so that it sits on the top. So you'll see if I move it across now, it's inside the shape. It's not. It's a bit too low down. So I can just move it up. I can just raise the pyramid up by doing this, and then what I can do is I can move it across. So I could just move it across manually, but what I'm going to do is use the align tools now. So like I say, if I wanted to, I could just move it across and sort of try to match it up. But what I'm going to do is drag around both of my shapes there, so they're both selected, and then come over here to where it says align, and I'm going to click the align tool, and you'll see these shapes that appear. So if I align it here, you'll see that the yellow pyramid jumps down to the middle, and I don't really want that. So I can align it to this side here and align it to that side, and then it will sit on top of my pyramid there. So it will sit on top of my cuboid shape. So now I've made that, but it's still two separate shapes. So what I want to do is I want to group them. So you don't have to group your shapes, but sometimes it helps. So I'm just going to highlight both of them again, and I'm going to go over here to this button that says group, and I'm going to click it, and now that behaves all as one thing, and you'll see that it's changed its colour. So if I change my mind and I need to move the two shapes separately, then all I do again is I just highlight those two shapes, and I can come along and I can click on ungroup. Once I've highlighted them, what I can do is I can change the colour. So if I want that to be more of a yellowy colour, then I can do that.